let's go back a few years ago. What was going on? You guys remember the Dakota Access Pipeline?
Yeah, I
Well,
remember it.
Yeah, yes. We talked a lot about that when that was going on. We continue to talk a lot about which politicians showed up to be in support, which ones were in solidarity, who was conspicuously not in solidarity until the very last moment. We talked about that a lot, but the news that's recent is that two of the water protectors have finally received have finally gotten charges levied against them, and they were some of the water protectors who had vandalized some of the pipeline equipment. So this is Jessica Ray Resnick and Ruby Catherine Montoya. So it comes to 9 total counts, including 4 counts of malicious use of fire, 4 counts of use of fire by the commission of a felony, and 1 count of conspiracy to damage the energy facility. So the 2 women admitted to attempting to damage the pipeline near the construction machinery at a news conference in 2017, shortly after their arrest, though they did not face charges at the time. So some may view these actions as violent, but be not mistaken, Montoya said in July 2017, according to the New York Times. We acted from our hearts and never threatened human life nor personal property. What we did was to fight a private corporation that has run rampantly across our country, seizing land and polluting our nation's water supply. Using tires and gasoline-soaked rags, we burned multiple valve sites, their electrical units, as well as additional heavy equipment located on DAPL easements throughout Iowa, further halting construction. She added, describing their actions, if the women were convicted, some courts in the indictment carry a mandatory minimum sentence of 10 years in prison, with the sentence jumping to 20 years for subsequent convictions. So that's a lot of charges to be filed kind of a long time after their arrest. Those charges look like they could stack up. The way I read that, if it could, so it jumps an additional 10 years for each subsequent conviction. If they got multiple convictions, could that be 90 years? And they make an interesting point, and it's in some ways philosophical. They say, we didn't harm any human life, and we didn't threaten any private property. So because corporations are people, the equipment that they are threatening is the private property of the person that is that company.
No, corporations are people. That is the extremity, like a finger of a person.
Oh, so she didn't harm any humans. She just harmed corporate people.
Yes, of course.
Yes.
Okay.
That's even worse.
A non-living entity. So that means when Enron went bankrupt, did it die of a heart attack? I mean, come on.
It died of an empty bank account.
Probably so. There we go. Oh, died of an empty bank account.
So it's
Aw.
sad. So you're making me sympathize, Paul. But here's
No.
the thing. I read somewhere that they were both facing up to 110 years.
Yeah, I was thinking
Yeah.
the math that I did
Yeah.
was 90, but yeah.
Either way, I think that what they should have done instead, they should have been responsible. They should have gone to the police training, become police officers, and then just gone into 11 different black people's apartments and shot them. And
Right.
that would have been a better use.
Okay, so here's the thing.
That's the way the state works.
The Squad Plus One actually says this. DAPL is illegal. And you know what? What the water protectors did in 2016 was historic and very heroic to do, because climate
and that
change
pipeline is illegal.
Climate change is a real reality. And guess what? These pipes are prone to failure. Right over there, we have the Line 5. Paul, you brought this up. There's an oil pipeline right underneath Lake Michigan, and it's 50 plus years old, 60 plus years old?
Well, so yeah, it's gone through some
Yeah.
minor renovations, but really just to supports that are underneath it. The pipeline was constructed in 1954.
Right.
It's beyond its easement, or its original easement, but I think
Right.
I haven't been following it super closely. I think they've kind of retroactively been like, yeah, the easement's still good. This nearly 70-year-old pipeline that goes under the Straits of Mackinac, which has more water passing through it every minute than Niagara Falls, that if there was a leak at this pipeline, it would destroy the feasibility of the drinking water of both Lake Michigan and Lake Huron. That one that's there that no one is really keeping a good close eye on. That's the one that we should just be like, let that go.
Yeah.
We're not the state that has the largest in the continental U.S. oil spill ever in the Kalamazoo River. That's not us.
No.
That didn't happen. We're not.
Hey,
Didn't
Paul,
you also say that they've never condemned a pipeline in
It
the U.S.
decommissioned. We've
Ne-
never
ne-
in
we-
the United
we-
States.
We've never decommissioned,
We've-
but there's
they
also
go
another.
up.
There's also
I don't know
another
if I'm mute.
depressing fact too. Sadly, guess where the Dakota Access Pipeline even ends? Guess which state? Right here. The state of Illinois. And
That's
you know
right,
what?
Kentucky. Wait.
None of these, none of the water protectors deserve to be charged. What they did was defend the planet and defend their land and defend each other against the encroachment of a major corporation that was basically all in favor of creating something that's not going to introduce jobs. All it is going to cause more problems. Pipelines are prone to disaster. They always leak, they always fall apart, and they don't bring in all these hundreds of thousands of jobs that corporate media or the commercials say that they're going to do. Let's not have that debate or conversation anymore, because you know what? It's already been proven. We know that these pipelines are BS. And the water protectors need support, especially from progressives and independents and average Americans, because they're out there on the front lines. They were out there on the front lines defending the planet, defending their clean drinking water, and we just can't turn a blind eye to this crap anymore.
You know what's really cool is that so these women were actually operating in Iowa. So that's even before you end up getting to the main pipeline fight. So this is part of sort of the easement fight and some of the early DAPL stuff. So that's early on the train.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that I'll just end with that. It's a real shame that history has gotten this version of reality to a point that people that are following science, following history of pipelines, following history in general, seeing where oil's going, seeing the effects of global warming, seeing the effects of leaks, can take an action, the only action available, because government actions failed. There's no negotiating with these giant multinational oil companies.
Yeah.
And so the only possible action they can take that has any real meaning is the thing that can put them away for life.
Yeah.
And I was adjusting earlier about how, you know, with police, it's like a run-out thing. If you kill a police dog, someone got 45 years for killing a police dog. So, and that's because there's been laws that have been put in place that they're like, oh yeah, police dogs, they're exactly like police officers, no different. Give them the same charges. We'll still feed them not human food though.
Right.
That those dogs, even those, or even a police officer, someone gets 50, 60 years in prison, still not the same charge as putting some oily rags in a electrical substation
Yeah.
for an oil pipeline.
So I want to end this on another note too, and something that all of you should think about. Who stood in solidarity with the water protectors when it was happening in 2016? Senator Bernie Sanders did. Representative Tulsi Gabbard was actually there with them and stood in solidarity with them. Dr. Jill Stein and Ajamu Brock of the Green Party were there with them. You want to know who wasn't there? I didn't see Obama. I didn't see Biden. And I sure as hell didn't see anything from Senator Elizabeth Warren until Obama said, it's okay, end the construction for the time being. Then she said, oh, yeah, I'm
pause
with
the construction
Yeah.
temporarily until we get this BS study to go through, and then we can. Oh, Trump overturned it.